Regarding part one, so the question I would have would probably go back to the first question I asked regarding utility, and that would be, what place is the idea of utility in if pleasures of one community comes at the cost of another? And so some people answered, like I think Sage answered as whatever one has the most amount of people, whatever one is largest. But I still, like, if it's like thousands of people and in one community and one community has 1,001 people, I don't see how that makes much sense to me. I think this is a good question. I think it's a question that I would like to be explained, just because it's one that's been going through my head kind of with this whole thing. Like, what do you do if a community has one more person? Like, I don't know. And another question I might have is, like, what is this pertaining to? So, like, is it like a question of bombing one community opposed to another? That's just kind of like another one of my questions. And then part two, my impression of utility is that it's a good idea. It's a good idea, and I think it has a lot of ground. I think it has concrete evidence that goes along with it, concrete ideas. I think it's really good. I think that Mill and Bentham have, I think that's how you say it, I'm sorry, have both made really strong cases about it, and they both have displayed it in a way that was fairly easy to understand, and it made sense that it might be something that people would want to follow because of the way that they explained it. And with all the criticisms that were made, I think Mill did a very good job of kind of shutting them down. I think he had really good ideas to go against them. My favorite one, I think, was the high and low pleasure one, with how they said that we don't have the more pleasures than a pig or something like that. And I talked about that in my last video, and that's still probably my favorite one, just because I really liked the way that he shut it down, and I liked his argument against it. And the idea of high and low pleasures from both articles were probably my favorite, just because I found that fascinating. I've never thought of that before, that like low pleasures might be what animals and stuff can experience too, so like eating and all that stuff, and that high pleasures are like intellectual development and growth of the mind. So in the question of should I be a utilitarian, or should anyone, I don't think it's something that I'd be like, oh my gosh, no, I never want to do that. However, with our first video, a question was asked of my family or 10 people, 5 members of my family or 10 people, and if I had to follow that because I was utilitarianism, I don't think I could. So in regard to that, I wouldn't. I don't think I should, because I'm always going to choose my family or friends. And should anyone, I definitely think that this is a good concept for some people to follow, maybe even governments in a sense, for some things, not for everything, but I think that it's a good concept. I don't necessarily think it's something I should follow. However, I don't think it's something that no one should follow. I think it's still a really good concept and a really good idea.